from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. It's a Monday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for Mailbag Monday, and boy oh boy do we have mail. You guys have sent us in your questions. We're going to answer them, but to answer them, I need a good panel, and boy oh boy do I have one. Let's kick things off with Clark Taylor. How are you today, Clark?
I'm fired up to be here as usual, Ben. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. I'm excited. It's mailbag. Answer some questions. The fans have been waiting anxiously for this. I'm ready to deliver. I've got answers. You've got questions. We've got answers. I'm stoked about it.
Absolutely, it is going to be a fun one, no doubt about it. And also joining us today, we have Shad. How are you, Shad?
What's going on, guys? I am good. It is not a Tuesday, it's a Monday, but I'm here and I showed up for work. Couldn't miss Mailbag Monday this week because we got some great questions. It's always a blast. So let's get into it.
Absolutely, and indeed we do. We have four very, very strong questions indeed, and let's just kick things off straight away with the question submitted by at I don't know how on earth you'd say this name. Tigar dot J. Is it an L or a J? LJ, I guess that's your name. Thank you for sending in the question. Who's asking if Damian Priest
Tiger LJ. Shout out.
Why on earth, right, does everybody have a confusing Instagram name? One second, before we get into Mailbag
There's only
Monday,
so many letters.
I'm going on a rant about this for a second, right? Every week, I have to type these names into the document. And every week, there's like 10 billion underscores, 10 billion numbers, nothing which makes sense. And it's even worse when we do a wrestling group chat, because I've got to input like 40 names into it, and all of them I've got like 10 billion underscores, zeros instead of O's. Why don't people just choose an easy username? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
But
what happened
it's
to
a great
good
question.
names like Bruce and Chuck?
Exactly.
Keith.
Bruce, Chuck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's easy for me to enter into a group chat. Easy as that.
Jim.
But they are asking if Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were to recruit more allies, who would they be and why? A very, very good question indeed. There's a lot of people on Monday Night Raw, but Clark, if you could choose any of those people to help Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, whether it's just for the feud or full-time, who would you pick?
This is a tough question for me because I don't think this is a faction warfare scenario, and I don't necessarily think that is what should happen at all. But I will say there's one person I can think of, and that's Jordy from WR. Obviously, the biggest Ripley fan we know. I think Jordy would be a great addition to the new age Judgment Day. I think Jordy would provide an excellent hand to the group. Now, if we're talking Raw,
I thought he didn't like Liv Morgan, though. I thought he was Team Rhea Ripley, wasn't he?
He's Team Rhea Ripley, but the question is who should help Ripley and Priest. Thank you very little. Anyway, the so back to Jordy and the Judgment Day, the New Age Judgment Day, as I would call them. So we add Jordy to the group. Over on Raw, if you're looking for recruits, I think it's kind of interesting. I'm not totally sure the direction that I would go as far as who can help on the women's side, because it's really about Liv and Rhea there. As far as like men that I would suggest you call for help, maybe a Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. That would be delightful. I would add to it, but I don't think this is a faction warfare situation in the first place. So I don't see it being any more important than that, especially when we're talking about adding Jordy to the group. That's, a tall task in and of itself. But I do think Jordy would be proud of what I did there because that is 8 times I said his name in the opener.
Say his name and he'll appear. Jordy is in the comments. He's saying he's going to slap the moustache off Dom's face. And it's actually 9, Clark. He's counted
It's
9
9.
times.
I got
he
9.
said
I got
Jordy.
9. I was trying so hard.
We have Lord Virus of Nurgle over on Instagram. Shout out to you. I hope you're having a great day. See, he puts underscores in his name, but he puts them between words, so it's really easy to break down and to understand.
Well, no underscores in Jordy's name. 10, let's go.
Yeah, for example, let's say, right, if Jordy, his name was J0_RD1Y. That's some of these names that I'm having to type in every day, Clark.
Makes
This is
things
why
difficult.
I'm getting frustrated.
It's
I
a lot
hate
of
it.
symbols.
It's too much. Right? There's too many names, just like there's too many names on the Raw roster.
We're not a marching band.
Shad, what names do you want to help out Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest?
First and foremost, I gotta agree with Clark on the notion that why do we want to make everything a faction nowadays? Why do we need to create the Wonder Friends for every single unit in pro wrestling? This is so much of what Triple H likes to do, and I love what he's doing for WWE booking, but they don't need to create a whole nother faction to go against this faction because we have many feuds that occur that can be factions. So to create a whole other unit for for Rhea and Damian Priest, I'm not for that. I don't think that needs to be done, but I do think that evening the odds will happen, and I think it does make sense. So I did the math right. We have 5 people remaining on Judgment Day. The greatest women's champion that we have in professional wrestling, Liv Morgan, who beat that bum bully Rhea Ripley. Dominic Mysterio, who made the right choice because he knows what true love is. And then you got the tag team champs, JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and then you got the OG, Carlito. That's a strong 5. I don't know if anybody can really beat those 5. Uh, but if I was to make it, even it out, I think you would add a tag team, and I think the rightful tag team to go against JD and Finn would probably be Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. They've teased them reuniting. They've teased them wanting to go against the Judgment Day and getting those belts. I think this is a good opportunity. I think Sammy and Jay are in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment. They're not really doing much, so them kind of having a feud with Finn and JD could be good for the storyline purpose. Makes a good match and whatnot. That works. Um, for Carlito, I would probably get someone a little bit outside the box, and y'all might be like, you're crazy. There's a person there, right? He's one of the most over performers last year in WWE. He's an international icon. He is a former LWO member. I want Bad Bunny to come back to the WWE and reunite with his former tag team partner, Damian Priest. I want them to make men's. I want him to align with Priest. And I want Damian Priest to have Bad Bunny take out Carlito. I want Carlito and I want Bad Bunny in a singles match coming to our TV screens very soon because that would just make the most monumental TV moments that you could have. Put it on a PLE. Put it on a PLE, man. You know what? Put it at this coming Bad Blood. Carlito versus Bad Bunny. I will go to Atlanta just to see that entrance because not only do I pay for a wrestling show, I get a free concert as well. So let's get Bad Bunny, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest. They might. That's a crazy starting 5. That's what I got.
And you've also got on top of that, shot to your point, you've got the battle for the island of Puerto Rico, which is so cool with Bunny and Carlito, given the history with the Colon family and everything, and that being the primary promotion.
I'm good PR for PR. That's all I gotta say.
I like that. Got him.
That was golden. Jordy is saying, I hate it when Chad has good takes, as he's got to agree with you on the Bad Bunny one, but Lord Virus of Nurgle says no way. And Carter Yaisi, I'm sorry, this one's just my bad. I've just completely botched their name. I'm so sorry. Says true, they don't need a faction to beat the Judgment Day. It should just be Dom and Liv versus Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's
but let's just
true
sprinkle
as well.
Bad Bunny in it because it only elevates everything that we do in the situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Right?
What if he hits him with a Grammy? Like he just hits him in the head with a Grammy. That'd be crazy.
That would be absolutely awesome. Do you know what, guys? Right, we'll know we've made it when somebody makes a compilation of all the names I've botched during these mailbag.
It's gonna happen. That is
like
down the
so
road.
much material to use of the amount I've botched. But we have Soul in the comments saying Edinburgh is alive with the festival. Need you all here to celebrate an American hero like our AEW American champion MJF. Of course, that controversial angle with Michael Oku this past weekend at Rev Pro.
Yeah, MJ tone deaf. He's really true to.
No, he's gonna do the same thing as USA Basketball in London.
I'm rooting for Osprey, man. I got my UK.
No.
Hey,
Stars and Stripes, 1776. Come on, baby.
Bangladesh.
USA.
Right, but Lord Virus of Nurgle in the chat is saying Bad Blood needs Bray versus Dom, Hair versus Mask, which would be awesome. But I do have a bit of a pet peeve, right? And this is to your point, Chad. It's to Lord Virus of Nurgle's point. It's to everybody's point right now. I have heard about 100 matches be suggested for Bad Blood over the past week. Why is everybody so obsessed with everything happening at Bad Blood? What's the obsession with it?
You asked Shad. Go ahead.
Yeah, because these, like a real American, this is a big American show that we have coming up next, and we need to put the focus for us in the States that can see it in person. Why do all the European crowds get all the good matches? We deserve some good stuff, but I think it comes to the point of I love historically the Bad Blood is always awesome. I feel like it's one that can really, if you build it right, it's a good way to just have a lot of strong bloodshed feuds, not necessarily blood matches, but like a lot of these like intense rivalries going into it. And Metro Boomin was in the commercial with Cody Rhodes, and
other than that, it was terrible.
Metro don't.
No, I'm sure it'd be a great show, but we can only have 5 matches, and I think I've heard 500 suggestions. Just everybody, right? Lord Virus and Nurgle saying he's had ideas of bashing Berlin too. I completely believe you, but on the podcast the last few days, everybody's saying Bad Blood, Bad Blood, Bad Blood.
You know what I think it is? You got a lot of old heads here, like me and Shad, and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus there, Shad, but like, look, Bad Blood, the brand that it was back, for being older is what I'm saying.
Dang,
but
bro,
nostalgically in the 90s, that's my point. I was saying I didn't mean it like that. I'm saying we were born earlier, and Bad Blood nostalgia wise is something that was like a special pay-per-view back in the day and felt like a huge deal. So the return of the branding, it's one of those that like you would expect some of the other ones that have returned of late. Like, I mean, it's ironic that they're using the Bash name, considering we've had Bash at the Beach, Great American Bash, right? Bash in Berlin. Okay, great. I love that. Bad Blood, it brings you back to the first Hell in a Cell match. That's all you can think about is Shawn and Taker. When you think of that, if you were there to watch it, like that's as soon as they say Bad Blood, you're like, oh dang, that one.
No, it's a good point. It's right, but I think people need to remember there's only 5 matches on the card. Also, we had The Bash as well, don't forget, for a couple of years. Just The Bash. That's it. The Bash. But we have Jordy in the comments saying Ben versus Bad Blood at Bad Blood. Oh,
great matchup.
Now we got
book it. Taylor
Lord
Swift.
Virus of Nurgle says for the IC title, he wants Braun Breaker versus Kaiser versus Sami Zayn. I'd love that at Bash in Berlin. I hate that at Bad Blood because it'd be another match at Bad Blood. But let's now move on because I've got bad blood with this topic. So we're going to move on and let's talk about Braun Breaker, the Intercontinental Champion, because we have a question submitted to us by Anthony Manzano, who asks, how long do you think WWE keeps Breaker as the Intercontinental Champion before moving him up to the World Heavyweight title? Is it going to be as long as Gunther or maybe a little shorter? A great question indeed, Anthony, but Clark, I want to get your thoughts on this. Will it be longer or shorter than Gunther's reign?
It's an awesome question, and I love it because I really want to answer it because I'm very passionate about this one. If it's copy paste what Gunther just did, that will be frustrating to me. I do not believe that Braun Breaker needs to sit on the Intercontinental title and defend it for a super long time. It's always been the workhorse title, but it changes hands often. And when it's at its finest, there's a division built around it of hungry stars ready to elevate themselves to the main event scene post their IC title run. If you continue to commandeer it, only the champion advances up the card. And that's something that I have an issue with. I think Braun Breaker should have almost leapt directly into the main event scene as opposed to starting with the IC title. I like him winning the IC title, but there was a lot to unpack with Sami Zayn's reign. There was a lot that Sami, I thought, had earned with this IC title. I'm not entirely sure, but I definitively believe it will be shorter than Gunther's, and I don't think in any way will it affect his main event push when that does happen down the road.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you, Clark. I could very much see that happening. It is quite difficult to work out, how long he should hold it for that exact reason. Because you want to make him look strong, but also you want him in this main event picture.
Right.
I'm gonna make a call right now, right? I think what's gonna happen is I think he's gonna go to WrestleMania, he's gonna retain it at WrestleMania against whoever, maybe John Cena. Then after WrestleMania, I think he's going to get drafted to Monday Night Raw. And once he's on Raw, at some point, maybe it won't be until SummerSlam, I think he's going to defeat Gunther for the World Championship. And I reckon he's going to be a double champion. I hate double champions, but I reckon he's going to do it. I think he's going to hold the Intercontinental Championship as long as Gunther, and also beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship and be a dual champ, which will be what will get him to those 600 and whatever days that Gunther held the IC title too. We've got
copy-paste.
It is. Triple H loves these long champions. It's not just Gunther. We've seen it with so many people. He loves these long title reigns. We saw a bunch of transitional champions, and we all know historically what happens after there's a transitional champion. And we know that Triple H loves the territories. They go long champion, transitional champion, long champion. I think he's doing the same thing once again. Karte Sefi is saying that easily 6 to 7 months, but it will end at WrestleMania, and Soul agrees and says that at Mania he will drop it to a call up such as Trick
What
Williams.
A call. Soul, that is a great call. I love the idea of Trick Williams being the one to take it off of Braun Breaker. That's awesome. I am all over that.
Call.
Absolutely.
But do you know what I love the idea of, Clark? I love the idea of Next Level. Now, if you guys don't know what Next Level is, let me talk to you guys about it real quick. Next Level, basically, they've taken all our social media links and they've chucked it all in one place. And that one place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms linked all in one place. Additionally, they have an app. You get their app, you download their app, you head to the wrestling section on their app, and there's a section just for wrestling content creators. So wrestling content creators you can see all their content. It's a thriving wrestling community. It's really fun. Oh, and it's completely free. You guys have nothing to lose. You can delete the app if you don't like it. But go to the link. It's nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic, and you can see all our links to all our platforms on there. It's a brilliant idea. It's a brilliant platform. Make sure you guys use it. But now, moving on to the next topic, because we have another question. Firstly, Clark, I do want to make sure you're all good, because Clark's just put in the private chat that an earthquake
Totally cool. Yeah, a little shake
shake
out here in SoCal. We're good, but yeah, no, it was. I was laughing. I was like, whoa, the timing on that was wild. No, we're good. We're good.
Okay, we're good. We're fine.
Thankfully, yeah, we had one action figure tip over, so that's fine.
Oh no,
we'll make it.
Poor.
Which one was it?
Yeah,
it was actually Mr. Perfect.
Well,
he tipped.
Was it perfect fall at least?
It was Kurt Hennig. He fell.
Come on, Kurt.
It was a good bump, though. It was a good bump.
Perfect bump.
It was a perfect bump.
But let's now move on to the next question. And let's hope no more earthquakes hit. And this question is from __JS_352__, who is asking who currently has the best women's roster. Shad, I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Now, I'm not sure if this means promotion or specifically roster, so take it in whichever way you want to take it.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to, break it down a little bit more, because if we're talking like a totality of a company, it's probably the WWE, because numbers, right? They got SmackDown, they got Raw, they got NXT. That's consolidated in one. But I'll break it down between separate brands, possibly shows or companies in a way as well, because I don't think Raw or SmackDown deserves to be listed maybe in the top three in regards to best women's rosters, because the booking of it has just been very subpar to my pleasing. I mean, obviously in the title picture you have great stuff. You got great women like Io that are obviously on Raw as well. So maybe Raw could fight for it. But to me, it it's tough, man, because it's between three, right? And I'll give a little honorable mentions. I want to give Stardom an honorable mention because they have an incredible roster of women that a lot of people in the States may not be familiar to, because they don't watch as much Japanese wrestling, but they have such incredible wrestlers on there that you can check out. Mayu Iwatani, uh, Starlight Kid, a bunch of people. And then I also want to give shout outs to AEW, because I think they have done a great job, and I think they've built a nice core of women on their show with a Britt, a Mercedes, a Tony Storm, Mariah May, Deanna, Thunder Rosa. But ultimately, unbiased, I got to give it to NXT. I think about a roster that is being utilized the most, but also just having such depth. And that comes from different directions, right? You got a main title picture with a champion like a Roxanne Perez, who, in my mind, is budding into being Women's Wrestler of the Year, arguably. It's just leading the way for it. And then you got people like a Kalani Jordan, who's also the North American champion. You got a Sol Ruka. You got a Tatum Paxley. Uh, you got tag teams like Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. And then you have upcoming people coming into the mix with a Julia and a Stephanie Vaquer. A, a core of Stephanie Vaquer, Roxanne Perez, and Julia may be the best top three that you can build a women's roster with in wrestling at the moment, if we're talking in ring. In my humble opinion, I don't think you could build a core of women that are just that good in ring wise and have them on a show. That's like an embarrassment of riches, and that's a factor that changes the conversation that people may have about women's wrestling and seeing the perception of it, because at that point, I think the bread and butter in NXT is the women's division. I think what makes NXT a show worth watching is because of women's wrestling, and the more talent that you add to it, like the two women that we are getting, it just advances it way more and more. So I think NXT in the current juncture of pro wrestling, have the best women's roster just because the depth, the athletic abilities that a lot of these women have, and just the different characters and stuff too. Like you have people that aren't all the same, right? There's women that are kind of giving you a different style. You have character acts, you have pure in-ring wrestlers, you got high flyers. Like there's something that you can kind of get a taste of with any style of what you like in pro wrestling. So to me, it's got to be the girls in NXT.
I'm going to be honest, Shard. For a second, I was about to say I think you're being biased, but I wasn't thinking about Stephanie and Julia coming in because those are two big, big names,
Yeah,
and you add
man.
those to that already stacked division. I mean, there's easily an argument for it. I mean, if we're talking about everybody fit and healthy as well, I think there has to be a strong argument for SmackDown, ironically, considering what we were talking about the other day. But I mean, that
Right.
SmackDown women's roster, when Charlotte's back, when Tegan Knox is back, you have Tiffany Stratton, you have Nia
For
Jax, you have
sure.
Naomi, you have Mi Chin, you have Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Indy Hartwell, what's her name? Candice LeRae,
There's
Chelsea
depth.
Green,
Oh
Bailey,
yeah, that's
Blair
depth. But
Davenport.
in my opinion, the assessment is always on how are they used, right? We
Yeah,
have
they've been
all
used
these women,
awfully.
right? And we obviously there was a debate on Saturday on the Daily about the time issue. Though I don't see all these women that you named on the show on a weekly basis, so it's
Exactly.
kind of like you're just having people sitting on the bench looking like Jason Tatum in the USA Olympics, right? You got to certify ballers not getting playing time. Where I know that I'm getting a lot of women getting a lot of playing time on NXT, and I'm gonna watch a lot of women's wrestling, and in that way also the the development only benefits them. The more reps they get, the more matches they get, the more TV time. These are a lot of raw prospects that are, you know, building as we see them on weekly TV every like me like Clark can attest to it, right? We see it every week
Yeah.
from we just had tune in today by tomorrow by the way, year anniversary. But um from a year of us watching
Yeah.
it last year to where we are now, like I've seen so crazy development. I mean, like we literally saw Tiffany Stratton blossom to the superstar that she is
Yeah.
now in NXT. So I just feel like this current, whatever we want to call it, post 2.0 NXT has been the best development process for creating women superstars. And I don't
No
even think
doubt.
we are going to, like, we're not stopping anytime soon. I think the tides hopefully will turn some play at some pace, and I think NXT is like they're kind of like the women's like evolution on a Tuesday show.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Shad. I find it incredibly hard to disagree with you there because I praised this version of NXT so much for how it's become such a better developmental brand, and the women's division is proof of that, right? Now, they've been called up, some people then haven't been utilized right on the main roster.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of who makes the best use of their roster, no doubt, there's no argument. It's NXT. There's zero doubt about it. But best roster on paper, I think, is SmackDown, and the worst executed roster on paper, I also think is SmackDown as
SmackDown.
well. So, uh, 1 + 1 = 2 there. But now let's move on to the next topic because we have a question submitted by Nilesh.music who is asking us who will dethrone Cody Rhodes. Well, this is a question which we get asked quite regularly, in fact, on a weekly basis, and I choose it every few months because every few months things change. For example, before I was predicting Bron Breakker for a little while. Bron Breakker is now the Intercontinental Champion. That doesn't make as much sense. So, I'm actually going with my prediction I had before that, and that prediction is I unfortunately think The Rock is going to beat him for it. I do think we're going to get Rock versus Reigns for the title, and I do think Rock's going to be the one who carries the belt into that match. Oh, the fans aren't going to like that. But Shard, what about you? Who do you think will beat Cody Rhodes?
I think it is the most over babyface in professional wrestling, and that is Mr. Roman Reigns. What I saw last Friday, and then obviously at the PLE, uh, Roman Reigns is undeniable. His just character and being over is undeniable. And the moment you throw him on our TV screen now, the fans are going to be, going ballistic. They're gonna go crazy for it. And I think when we get to Roman and Cody feuding again, I think this will be the telling point, and it may be the unfortunate circumstance for Cody Rhodes that the fans may turn on him a little bit at that point because there is going to be a superstar that they want to get, on and be fans with a little bit more, and that is Roman. I mean, he calls himself the GOAT, and he carries himself like the GOAT. I think it's gonna be the opposite. I think the next time these guys feud, I think we're gonna get a heel Cody Rhodes. I think Cody is gonna play the whole I held this title and I've been a man for the people type of situation. And I think we'll get a heel version of him going against the babyface Roman. And I think Roman is gonna beat him. These guys are attached to the hip when it comes to rivalry and storyline. There's nothing they can do about it. This is just the circumstance of what it is, and it's not a bad thing because when we talk about historical feuds, we look at a Stone Cold and we look at a Rock, we look at a John Cena and we look at a Randy Orton, right? These are stuff the a Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, they kind of could be this generation's version of that, and them going back and forth, switching the titles, whatever direction you want to do it for, who the fans want to root for, got no problem with that. But I think that title means a lot to the WWE where they want someone who is of marquee status to hold it and that fans just absolutely love. I think it's Roman.
Wow, wow, indeed. I mean, that is a boiling hot take. Roman Reigns winning it back. That would cause some controversy, but you are right. He is currently more over than anybody on that roster. We have a comment here from Cartivia Sethi who's saying that Orton will turn on Cody, get frustrated, and he's not winning on premium live events, and his student, his prodigy, has become the guy, and he'll come for everything Cody's achieved, and then he'll be the psycho, and then he'll go back to the heel version he was in 2009, and he might get a reign, and he might beat Cody to get that reign. I mean, that would be incredible if Orton really does win. That is a great shout there. Somebody else predicted that who messaged us in earlier today as well. But Clark, what about you?
I'm going to start first just because we did have a 4.6 or 4.7 earthquake up in LA just north of me. And I just want everyone stay safe. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, never any fun when that stuff kind of happens. Seeing the tweets is no good. But of all people, I would choose the Viper. I want the Viper Randy Orton. I want not to shake things up too much, but I think the real key is I want Randy Orton to tell that story with Cody. We had a 47-year story that was paid off between Cody and Roman. And as much as I love that rematch and the idea of Cody and Rock, I'm all for that too. Right this second, the Cody and Randy story is to me more enticing for Cody Rhodes. And I love the idea of Randy winning the title off of him to take him out of this part of the bloodline storyline. And now all of a sudden we end up with a situation where we've got Roman Reigns and The Rock, and Cody's not involved necessarily. We bring Cody back into that story later. That's just the way that I would go if I had the pencil. But I mean, that's just me, It's one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many people it could potentially be. We have real Lisa Marie, Victoria in the chat over on Instagram saying that Randy Orton is one of her favorites too. I think that is a great shout, no doubt
Great
about
call.
it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But this is the thing about it. It's so unpredictable. And we said this about Roman Reigns too, but at this point, who could win that WWE Championship? It feels like it could be so many people. I mean, Clark, of course, you and Chad, both the 1 year anniversary of your off the air NXT show is coming out tomorrow. But do you
Yep.
think there's any names in NXT who could potentially get called up and have like a shock title win or something
Oh,
against Cody?
easily, easily.
So
Who?
Oba Femi.
it, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Obafemi, I don't know. Here's the Obafemi is so dang good, you can't really make it up. And here's the thing with me about Obafemi. Once he wins, we're in the same spot as Breaker or Gunther, but even gnarlier. Because who in the world can you have a stare down with Obafemi in the ring? Oba doesn't have to talk, and he's amazing on the microphone.
Yeah.
He's amazing on the microphone, and he doesn't even have to talk because there's only so many people that are believable on the other end of that conversation staring him down. There's only so many people on the roster that are even you would even fathom have a chance against that against Obafemi. And it's brilliant. We haven't seen that in a long time. He's an absolute take you out behind the barn, old Yeller
Yeah.
reference there type of a guy. Like
He
it's
could.
bad. If
He could be
you
the one
end
to do
up
it.
booked in that match, you're in
Mhm.
trouble. And it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things about Obafemi. I think the whole thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. I mean, the the thing with NXT is I do think their men's division is lacking a little bit at the moment, current juncture. I think a lot of the call ups, and then losses that they've had, obviously with Dijak leaving, and Braun being called up and whatnot. They don't have as many surefire guys that I can see as main eventers. I see a lot of guys who can be solid mid card guys, like a guy like a Wesley, right? Trick Williams is kind of meddling on both ends, but at the moment I would assume him to be more of a mid card guy, just because that's kind of been like Melo's direction is. So I kind of think they would have like a similar trajectory. But Obafemi is a superstar that has he checks all the boxes when you talk about a dominant presence and being a super heavyweight in your main roster and main event scene. The guy is just a physical beast. Tall, super jacked, super strong, can move, athletic as any of them. And then to Clark's point, it's the character work that doesn't get highlighted as much, in my opinion, that people don't, put into, right? It's the
Yep.
fact that he talks with so much confidence, so much elegance, right?
Conviction.
Yeah.
Conviction. He's like a super like a final boss kind of villain. Not the Rock, obviously, but you know what I mean, like in that aspect. And I think that is the same pipeline as like I think Gunther would be the one I would compare it to more so. I think he hits the main roster and whatever belt he has, it's gonna be a strong dominant reign because that's what he's doing right now. Just like Gunther, right? Strong dominant reign with the NXT UK title. He's doing that with the North American title. If he gets to the main roster, if they throw the IC belt or the US belt, it'll be a reign, and it will be only in some time frame. I say maybe the next 3 to 5 years where he'll be a world champion, and we're talking about the next big thing for them. Like he's I haven't felt a presence of like strength and just pure being a beast since like Brock Lesnar that I have with
Wow.
Obafemi.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with you. I really cannot, and neither can real
We
Lisa
have
Marie over on Instagram.
WWE legend real Lisa Marie. It's shades of her in what she'd done for the women's division, right? The dominance, the
Yeah,
Black Widow, the original. Like that's the brilliance of
yeah.
this. It
Yeah.
is like it is.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. To be honest with you, I'm really not against just calling up Obafemi after WrestleMania and doing like what they did in New Japan years ago when Kazuchika Okada came back from excursion and just have him win the World Championship straight away
Out
and
the gate.
everybody's just jaws hit the floor and it's be, the Obafemi shock and him then be the face of the brand. 6 months, it's not, specifically all the way until WrestleMania or anything like that. But when they use, the time of the year, which is a little bit quieter, I reckon Obafemi could do it. I reckon chuck him in the deep end, and I reckon he will certainly swim.
I like it. WWE doesn't do that as much anymore, and that's
Oh, I
kind of
know.
that's a little bit of a beef I have with them. I feel like a lot of their title reigns are super formulaic
Yeah.
on all cylinders. Like I see similar reigns occur on every show. Nothing of surprise that is more of a good surprise happens, right? And I would like to see more of that. Um, than just kind of the same spiel. Not saying it's bad or anything. Everything is good. Like I do like a lot what they're doing, but it would be cool to have like a oh my god like type of moment. A young guy just coming in there wrecking shop and then becoming champ. You know,
Yeah, that would be awesome. It's just something different, and that is wrestling's at its best when you're like, I never saw this coming.
expected it
I
coming. Yeah,
guess we kind of saw with Jinder Mahal in 2017, but he wasn't like a call up then. It was just a return and out of nowhere. But
I I didn't mind his title reign as much as people
nor did I.
dislike
Nor
it.
did I. It was fun, but there was some bad writing, but some of it was fun as well. But on that note, guys, it does bring us to the end of today's show. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Thank you to Clark and thank you to Shad for joining me here today, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.